The dog responds to its presence being acknowledged. So, like, if we're on the couch and the dog is hanging out in her pen or on the floor, we will peek up over the couch on our phone, like fucking submarine telescope style, being like, what is the dog up to? And without fail, the dog will eventually notice her. Scrump will notice I stop calling her the dog, and just like shoot the camera this image, like this face of disgust and disdain. It's like, human, what are you doing? And like every single time, it's just like, how do you have this much face? How do you have like this? Like, you're a dog. How do you know what disappointment in mankind is?
Well, it's simple. I've seen the pictures you sent me when I couldn't get my internet up. I know the level of disdain your dog has.
My fucking thuggy ass dog who's like,
God, that was so good.
Let me make you an offer you cannot refuse. I am displeased with you, Charlie. I'm sorry, Scrump. I don't like being displeased.
I was very terrified. It was like, I'm sorry, Mrs.
Yeah,
Mrs. Scrump, I'm sorry.
I have a collection of my dog just giving me these like looks of like, you know, I killed people for less, right?
Welcome to Wicked Awesome Cast, episode 110.
Woo!
We are back after a very long hiatus.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Mainly because my internet provider up here blows ass. Anyway, I am Mave Online, aka, Alex, aka Mave Online.
Are you Mave Online? You left LA. Like, don't you have to leave your, like, gamer tag with you when you move? Aren't you, like, Woodsboy 992 now or something?
No. It's cool because what I did is I applied for a change of address thing for my gamer tag, and that worked out.
Oh.
So, everything should get the post office does it. You can do it with your gamer tag. It works out just fine. I didn't have to change my name either. Come on now. But yeah. Yes, welcome. I am, of course, Alex, Mave Online, and I'm here today with Charlie, a.k.a. Mordak, or my favorite, Mord 4K, which never gets old. But yes, 2 weeks since we've done our last podcast. We were that blown by E3 that we just like, nope, fuck this podcast.
I also had scheduling hell trying to get our guests on, where it was like, hey, can you do Thursday at 5 p.m. East Coast time? No.
Well, dude, if you're doing freaking 5 a.m., I'm like, even I won't do 5 a.m.
It was a bit batty. I was like, yeah, I'm busy. I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine. We should make this work, though. When are you available? Oh, like Tuesday at 9 a.m. in the morning. I got work.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I was kind of at the beholden. Well, I was at the mercy of Comcast, which is my provider now.
Have you ever had Comcast before?
No, I had Time Warner.
Prepare for that just ever so uncomfortableness that comes with dealing with Comcast. Time Warner is evil. Comcast is evil-er.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm actually going to share my stories with Comcast with you when we go into our little updates. But boy, do I have some doozy of a story for you.
I will warn. They are predictably evil, I guess. Though, where Time Warner Cable's like, we're going to totally change how we do everything because reasons.
Yeah.
We're Spectrum now. Why?
No, that's Time Warner that changed the Spectrum.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Comcast is at least predictable, and they'll do the same evil thing every time consistently.
Yeah, well, it's very true to that. Like, okay, you feel bad? Well, then just go ahead and I'm going to rub my nipples.
Yeah,
it's how bad it is.
It's the fucking South Park episode all over.
It absolutely fucking so. But yeah, we're back. 110. We finally made it work. So now that I have internet, so all is going well. So yeah, let's just get into it then. Do you want to share your week?
Yeah, why not? I feel as though I'm about to kind of like close some weird dark circle in my life.
Uh-huh.
So if you rewind like way the fuck back when to like 8-year-old Charlie, pre-video game Charlie and shit like that, you had Charlie who played Warhammer 40,000 and like through much of my adolescent and teenage life kind of like bounced on and off that hobby, and then eventually said, fuck this, I'm out. Like, I can't do this anymore, whatever. And, like, got into War Machines briefly in college and played some after college, but, like, for the most part, was kind of done with the collectible tabletop world. And so I've been playing Starfinder a bunch since we last had our last episode. That's still a lot of fun. I'm getting back into how the hell you play that, like how you play a tabletop RPG. But because I'm now like in an environment where I'm exposed to tabletop shit, like I'm around 40K models a lot. So I'm like, man, like I forgot how fucking cool these were, but like no, never again. I'm never gonna play a game where it's like, oh, move 400 pieces in a turn kind of thing, and then roll a billion dice to figure out what you did. That was my saving grace. Recently it came out that Games Workshop, the people behind that, are like, yo, we're making something called Kill Team, and I'm like, what's that? You can use 40K models in it. Oh, and it's like 5 or 10 models. Oh, and it's totally new battle system. Oh, and it's skirmish. I do love me some skirmish. Yeah, and it's back and forth, not turn-based. God fucking damn it. Not back in, but Jeff texted me he's been listening to this shit, so yeah, there's a very real chance in the next year, depending what the rules for Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team wind up being, I will be playing that again. Especially because, like, yeah, like you can, like, your character has like progression and stuff like that, and like it has real RPG elements, meaning like if you win enough, you will level up and shit. And I'm like, that is fucking cool. And then on top of that, they're like talking about how, yeah, it's using a similar battle system to the like traditional pen and paper RPG we're putting out along the same lines, and it's just a moment of, where was this stuff back when I was like 17 or 18, back when I still played? Like, I don't want to be back into this shit, but like, the itch never goes away, apparently. Yeah, lots of tabletop stuff going on, but at the same time, speaking of my dark circle, I'm back in Destiny 2.
Really?
Yeah, it is weird going back to that game after like not really touching it since Osiris. I played the Warmind DLC, but not really. Like, I got through it, and then I'm like, okay, fuck it, whatever. I didn't explore any kind of stuff around it. They have added a lot of stuff to that game I didn't know about. The faction rallies do work differently. A bunch of the reward stuff works a lot better than it used to. Like, now that I'm taking a wider look out and kind of being like, okay, what are the systems in the game currently? I'm a little more optimistic about what Forsaken is. It's got some stuff going on I like.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned getting back to Destiny, because I am currently in the process of reinstalling myself. So
choices.
Yeah. I know. I'm kind of I'm looking forward to it. I was talking to a couple friends of mine, and I'm like, well, I want to give Destiny another shot, just because, like, you know, it's fun. Like, I had fun playing it, despite
it is one of the best playing games out there.
Yeah. So finally, I'm like, all right, fine. So actually, now that I have internet again, I started downloading that, so I can kind of jump into it and see what it's about now. But
there's some stuff in there. It's not overtly obvious the moment you get back into it, and maybe it was because I got back in during a faction rally where there's kind of the most to do, but yeah, that game is better than it was at launch. They've fixed some stuff I didn't know they were fixing, and I will also go as far to say, at least on the PS4, the average player has gotten a lot worse.
Oh, really?
I having not touched that game in like a while, really, I am very good at that game still. Like, kill counts for strikes and stuff like that are the other two people added together times 2.
Yeah, I was experiencing that when I first started. Like, I was consistently putting out the most like kills in a game in general.
Well, you use swords in Crucible too.
No, I mean in just the normal PvE stuff.
That's fair, yeah.
So, where I rarely have ever used swords in that.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's the average player, at least in I'm not touching the Crucible stuff. I touched it as much as I had to get through some milestones, but like the PvE stuff I've been touching, it's like I am a lot better at this than the majority of the rest of you, and it may be that like I have to grind up my player rank because there is some behind the scenes matchmaking, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying with that, but yeah. I'm kind of excited to see what it will look like.
Yeah, I am. I'm genuinely excited about the Forsaken now. The game's in a cool spot, I think, where it's like it's poised to really kind of expand on itself in a good way. And it's weird for me to say that because even when I was playing Warmind, I was kind of eh.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not putting in like 20 hours a week into that game like I did back in Destiny 1. I played like a bunch during Faction Rally and like 2 or 3 hours since Faction Rally ended last week. So like I'm not back, but I'm like, no, I actually played like Destiny. I played some. I'm putting time in. I'm changing stuff again. I'm like, it may be the fact that I'm like, okay, I wanted to have all the DLC on my PS4 done before Forsaken came out. I wanted to have like a character I liked where they were at gear wise, and my Titan is there right now. I'm like, yeah, I like your build. You're doing it. I like your guns. But in completely non-video game related stuff, or even gaming related, really, we're on Spotify now.
What?
That's the Wicked Awesome Cast is now on Spotify. I leapt through those godforsaken hoops.
Huh.
Yeah, we're on there if you want to go check us out. I only mentioned that because it took like a week to get done of like pestering them. But probably the most important thing I've been up to. So, weekend you leave town, the pirate invasion of Long Beach happens.
Of course it does.
It was pretty cool. I had a giant pineapple drink.
Nice.
It was a pirate-based Renaissance festival kind of along the coastline of Long Beach. It was free, so I can't really talk that much shit about it, but I'm like, yeah, this is kind of junk, but also it's kind of awesome.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that was a thing. Is this the first year?
Second year, I think.
Second? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's newish. Yeah. No, but that's about kind of what I've been up to, like playing a couple things here and there. I'm playing around with a couple games. Like I go back to Warframe now. Like, oh, we're doing stuff in Warframe, and I'm checking that. Like, mostly I am reminded of the fact that like the time after E3 till like mid-July, I don't want to fucking play video games. I like sitting there after E3 being like, man, I don't want to play any of this shit I already own.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play that shit I just saw videos for. So, yeah, recovering, playing with my dog some, trying to do stuff around the house. Nothing super exciting on my end, unlike you.
Well, I mean, hanging out with your dog. When you say hanging out with your dog, do you at the whim and will of the Mafia Don known as Scrump?
Well, yeah, that too, but yeah, it's more we're doing drive-bys on fools.
Ah, of course.
I'm not picturing my dog like paw out the window holding just like an Uzi or something, just drive-bying suckers while wearing sunglasses. It's adorable and terrifying.
Yeah. No, there's this... Oh, yeah. So, I don't think the public knows what you sent me when I had told you that my internet was down, and it was a very terrifying picture of your dog very upset with me, and also referencing that they're going to send very legitimate business friends over to take care of me.
I'm learning my dog has nothing but legitimate business friends.
Yes, exactly. Very much legitimate business friends, which I was promptly terrified with. Yeah, no. But your dog is fucking adorable, and I keep track of all the pictures. It's great.
Yep.
But yeah, well, I'm glad you're recovering well. How much longer do you still have on the...
I don't know. The week of this podcast, going up and have the doctor's appointment, so I wouldn't talk about this too much more. Like, we moved on to the weird part of PT, where it's like, hey, we're gonna start making you move your arm, and you've lost a bunch of muscles, so very basic things are going to be hard. Like, I'm still wearing the sling more often than I'm not, but also, like, a physical therapist beat the shit out of me the Friday before this recording, and like fixed my arm up a bunch. I am progressing positively. It's not as fast as maybe I'd want, but I think it's about as fast as is typical.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You gotta understand. Like when I before I had the surgery, me and my doctor were talking. It was this like bizarre conversation of like, so it'll be like 3 or 4 months where you can like dribble a basketball again. And my reaction to that was, I don't care if I ever dribble a basketball ever again with my left arm. When can I sleep on it again? That's my sleeping shoulder.
But, I mean, like, I thought you had dreams. You had hoop dreams, man. You're gonna ball up them fools in L.A. How are you
yes.
going to do it now?
No, you're confused. I moved to LA to manage people that can play basketball.
With your very legitimate business?
Yes,
plan?
the most legitimate of business.
Yes.
My very legitimate management company.
Yes.
We will fight for our clients.
Is that the name of it? Very legitimate business company?
Yes. Of course it is. It's very legitimate. The name conveys what it is. Definitely not a front for the drug trade management company. We will not use your mediocre athletes as drug mules, the talent agency.
Oh, man.
But yeah, that's kind of all I've been up to, really. Pretty boring on my end. June's a weird month for me just because it's been hot as shit here too, actually. So, like, I played Starfinder the day before recording this for a long time, and I did nothing but, like, we all were just sitting there in sweat because, like, the place's AC could not fight LA heat right now. So as a result, like, you go outside, you're like, all right, I'm going back inside where it's not that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know anything too much about this heat other than, like, it's like 80-something degrees out here.
Yeah.
That's so hot.
You're kind of in the weather that I grew up in that used to, like, oh, I forgot about this. There's one thing that makes me super excited about this. You've never lived a place with humidity before.
No? Guess not?
Oh, this is gonna be good.
What's going on? What are you... What?
Nothing. You're good. I'm looking forward to your first spring. Because you know what sucks? 106-degree heat. You know what's worse? 80-degree heat with 100% humidity.
Oh. Well, that's why I'm investing in fans and...
Fans don't
AC.
do shit!
Room... AC, portable AC unit.
AC doesn't do shit against humidity.
I'll figure it out.
It cannot be stopped.
I'll figure it out. Leave me alone.
I guess speaking of you figuring it out, we took 2 weeks off because of you. I guess not because of you. I have to blame you, but you're the one with more eventful stuff going on. What the hell have you been up to in 2 weeks? Like you moved or something?
Yeah.
You no longer reside in LA, as we may have just conveyed?
This is confirmed. I am no longer living in the City of Angels. I have now moved to Stumptown, baby. Portland.
Is that what they call
Not
it?
Maine. Oregon. It's one of the nicknames. Yeah. I'm now living in Portland. And I have to say, so far,
Well, so let's give a little backstory. We've talked about how I've moved around the country a bunch before I wound up in LA. Like, this is your first, like, more than, like, a week outside of LA kind of ever to a certain extent, right?
I mean, I've been at places longer, but yeah, pretty much. As far as living, this is the farthest I've ever lived from my original home. Yes. So, yeah. So I finally moved up here to Portland, and I love, like, I go out and walk my dogs. There's so many fun places to go walk them. Like, traffic is fucking great. It's funny when I hear people out here talk about, like, oh man, traffic's really bad. There's like a 5-minute pileup or a buildup on the freeway, and I'm like, ha 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 ha. Oh, you silly Oregonians.
You fools!
Yeah, I'm just like, no, I'm good. Although it does throw me off because I'm so used to, like, wanting to, like, head out super early out of, like, you know, just practice and habit that, like, I get there super early. I'm like, oh, this place that's, like, 5 miles is literally only 10 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, like, 30 or 20-something minutes just to get there. No, it's literally just the time it's supposed to be. So, that part is a lot of fun. So far, I mean, I guess I'm still in the honeymoon phase, but I absolutely love it up here.
Sure.
The move makes me want to pull my fucking eyes out of my head, but it's all done now, for the most part. I still, since my old place, I technically did not have a living room. This is kind of a weird little thing I'm trying to put together, so I gotta get a sofa and entertainment center set up for the living room, but, yeah, it's fun. I have way more space. My old apartment was like somewhere over 400 square feet. This one is closer to like 780 square feet. So, yeah, it's
so much space for activities.
Exactly. But yeah. So let's go down the list here. So,
Like, have you been set up enough to actually do any gaming?
yeah, no, my gaming setup is already done. So I'm good there as far as like my PC goes. My consoles are still kind of sitting in limbo at the moment.
Sure.
Yeah, once they get like a living room entertainment center, they're gonna go there, and it's close to my routers, so they'll be able to get online as well. And still close enough that if I need to capture on my PC, it's close enough I could do that. So I'm happy about that because the PC's in the living room, of course. I still have boxes of shit I still need to go through though, because I didn't realize how much like stuff I have until I packed.
Yeah.
And how much stuff I still have to like unpack. So, living room is still a bunch of boxes. Some of it is like stuff I need to throw out. Some of it is stuff I still need to go through. Because I think near the end of packing, I was just like, fuck this, and I just threw everything in boxes that I could.
Okay, so a little pro tip for you. Right when you think, like, hey, I could probably like get most of the rest of this done in like a week or two, or weekend or 3 or 4, break your shoulder. It makes it way easier to finish that process.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, no, sooner or later I'll be fully unpacked, but as of right now, most of the essentials and some stuff here and there is unpacked. I still have some stuff to go through.
Yeah.
So, now that I finally have internet, which I'll get into last because I want to give this its own separate spot at the end of the whole thing. Moving was a big old pain in the ass, but it's all done, so I'm happy about that. I think I'm enjoying just living out here. There's so many parks.
Yeah, it's new.
Which is really nice. Yeah, it's new, and I really... But as far as some of the gaming stuff goes, now that I finally have internet again, I'm also on the, I think I had mentioned before, installing Destiny 2 and giving that another shot.
It's a weird feeling, isn't it?
It is, because I'm like, man, I'm so mad about this game. At the same time, I'm like, there was some fun I had in this game. So I'm going to reinstall it and give it another good go, and we'll see how it goes. But we're going to talk about options later today. But yeah, no, I figured it's time to give it another shot. And speaking of, I actually played a new game. So not to just play the old one, but play the new one. Have you played Divinity Original Sin 2?
I have.
I like this game.
Yes.
I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I would have, but like I've jumped into it. It's got very much the elements of like a pen and paper D&D.
It is very much based off it.
Yeah. And it plays pretty well, I got to say.
It is long.
Yeah, no, that it absolutely fucking is. But I like the flexibility and everything you can do with that, like the game itself. So, yeah, no, I like it a lot. So, I kind of started dabbling in it last night. So, I'll be playing that and kind of seeing how far I can get with that because I'm playing a nice campaign with a couple friends. But I do like, apparently I noticed you can make your own campaign. And people can play through your campaign, which is kind of cool. So, and there's a couple mods here and there you can do to kind of really make the experience fun.
Yeah. There used to be a game called Neverwinter Nights that was similar.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. But yeah, no, Divinity 2 is a lot of fun. For those of you guys who haven't tried it, if you want to kind of get something close to like a pen and paper D&D experience, I guess, this would be it. Because it has a lot of those RPG elements. You build up your stats and your character sheet and all that jazz. So I like it. It's pretty, it's simple but fun for people who are familiar with the genre, I guess. Last, and certainly not least, motherfucking Comcast. So, where do I start with this? So, before I left, maybe like a couple days before, I scheduled my install and everything with Comcast. Okay, I'm going to do the self-install kit. I don't need any of your equipment. I got my own router and modem. You don't have to send me anything. Just get me connection. So, I move in, or I get settled in here. I call them. This is June 22nd or 21st. I call them on a Friday. And they tell me, yeah, no, okay, looks like there's something they still need to do on the outside part to get everything settled in, so we're just going to schedule a tech to come out and help you out tomorrow. I'm like, okay, cool, that works. Like, yeah, they'll be there between 9 and 12. I'm like, okay, that works for me, thank you. 9 and 12 passes, and nothing happened. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, they meant 9 a.m. and 12 a.m., dude.
Oh no, it gets better. Trust me. Let me take you on this journey of Comcast. So, I finally call them after like maybe 1 o'clock or whatever, 1 or 2, and I'm like, hey, so I had an appointment for today, and no one showed up. So I'm kind of wondering what's going on. And the technician looks at my account, and he's like, oh yeah, no, they're on their way. Let me get your number so I can have them call you and kind of sort stuff out. I'm like, okay, cool. So the guy told me they're about an hour away, like give or take, from being at my place. Like they'll be there within the hour. And here, let me get your phone number. So he proceeds to get my phone number. Hour passes. Lo and behold, this gentleman or lady does not show up. So I'm like, okay. So I called later in the day, maybe like 2 hours later. I'm like, I'll give them benefit of the doubt. Maybe they got a long install. So I called him. And I'm like, hey, so I had an appointment for 9 a.m. or 9 to 12. No one showed up. And now it's like 4 or 5 o'clock, and nobody's still here. And they told me there would be somebody here within the hour the second time I called. And they checked my account, and lo and behold, I never had an appointment in the calendar. At least that's what I was told by whoever the fuck this was. So I'm sitting here thinking, so I just literally spent most of my day for nothing.
Sounds like Comcast, unfortunately. Like, last time I dealt with them, I was in an apartment in Pittsburgh at the time, and I literally, like, saw the Comcast guys coming out of a different building, and I was like, yo, are you guys almost done? They're like, yeah, we're getting off shift soon. I'm like, do you want to do my place real quick and, like, get an extra one in that you're not scheduled for? And they're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I should have done that. But
no, I was getting away with it because it was like every college student ever was moving into like a block of apartments, so I was just waiting for the Comcast guy to show up, and I'm like, you're Comcast people.
Well, the thing is, there was a truck here the same day I was supposed to have somebody here.
Oh, you have to go track that truck down then and be like, yo.
Yeah, but they were working on a neighbor's house or something.
Yeah, you talk to them and say, hey, when you're done here, can you come do mine? That's like the best way of dealing with it.
Yeah. Well, lo and behold, I did not do that, and they told me the closest appointment after that would be 2 weeks from that day. Mind you, my service is active, apparently, so I am paying for a service that I don't have connected.
Yep.
So I'm telling the guy, so my account is active, and it says it's up and running. What am I supposed to do for 2 weeks? Like, oh, well, once it gets connected, you can call them back, and they can give you a reimbursement or a cost, whatever the fuck I'm going to call it, that they do. So I'm like, okay, we'll see how this goes. So later today, after this podcast, I'm going to call Comcast to try to get my credits for that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so finally, 2 weeks passed. I was able to call back and see, hey, maybe I can get an earlier appointment. Nope. Apparently they can put you on a list to see if somebody else's cancels. Never heard back. But I was checking I have the app, I guess their Xfinity app. So I was checking it every day. And lo and behold, I saw an opening for a Friday instead of Sunday, which is when we're recording this podcast today. And yeah, I was able to steal that appointment up early for Friday, and they finally came out. And you know what really pisses me off? It took them fucking 15 minutes to get everything up and running.
Oh yeah, no, for a long ass time I have been known to run my own cables prior to the cable guys even showing up. So they just have to, like, just give me power or give me the system set up.
Yeah, no, I guess I gotta find the box. I guess something was unplugged or disconnected there, because the previous tenants, I guess, kind of were shitty people.
Yeah.
So, because the apartment's wired for cable internet. Like, it's already set up. It's built into the wall. So, they didn't have to drill anything. So, needless to say, I was very upset. But, it's okay. I have internet now. And then the second night I have internet, I stayed up till about 5 a.m. playing games.
Don't you love how when you don't have internet, you're like, I can, whatever, I'll do, and then it comes back, and you just, like, wake up the next day just hungover. You're like, oh, the internet's back.
Yeah. I got so much done. Like, I was like, oh, I'll get this. And I was also going to sleep really early. Like, it was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I'm like, man, I'm sleepy.
Yeah.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
So,
it's almost as though access to a variety of social media accounts and stuff to do has made us worse people.
But I will say, like, I've been getting a lot of sleep, and oh my god, sorry. I've been getting a lot of sleep and just kind of drinking a lot more water. as a result of not having internet. But now that I have
You
internet,
know,
I've gone back
less
to...
internet, more water consumption.
Yeah, so now I'm pounding Red Bulls and staying up all night because I have internet again. I just need to get my fucking Mountain Dew Baja Blast from the store, and I'm fucking set, dude. Full fucking circle.
Get your Deweitos.
Yeah, after this, I'm going to fucking Arby's. I'm going to pound down fucking Arby's.
Get that Meat Mountain.
Yep, Baja Blast, all the horrible stuff.
Does Arby's have a Baja Blast?
Doesn't, but apparently the supermarkets around here sell it in cans and bottles.
Oh yeah, you can get that now, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm going to go pound some fucking Mountain Dew. Fuck yes.
Everything about this conversation makes me sad now.
So, yeah. Other than that, I guess even I've heard all the stereotypes of Comcast, and lo and behold, boy, did they not fucking disappoint. They seriously did not fucking disappoint.
No, it's real.
Thank you, Comcast. Thank you. If anybody here either works for Comcast or can get connected to Comcast, thank you for finally giving me the service I've been paid for.
Allegedly, if you tweet at their trouble support account or something on Twitter, it's like one of the fastest ways of actually getting something done through them.
Yeah, I didn't feel like being that guy at the moment, so
that's fair.
There's plenty of things I could have done that would have been a lot better. Lo and behold, as long as everything's working right now, I'm okay. Can't be too mad. I've got good speed, so I'm happy.
No, sure. It's about all you can ask for.
Yep. So I am happy. Yeah, that's it for me, man. I'll keep you guys posted my adventures.
Man, with 2 weeks off, you'd expect us to have been like, fucking, we did X, Y, and Z. We played so much shit. But no, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I had no internet, so what could I do?
This is true. You were forced to be out in Portland in nature.
Yep.
Fucking stunning on your coworkers. But, I saw like so many drive-bys before I moved here.
You know how many motherfuckers I was involved with dying? Don't ask me.
Just snapping necks for a hobby.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think we're done with our week, so that means it's time for news. So this is kind of an amalgamation of news over the last couple weeks because it's post E3 and pre-September, which means there is so little gaming news out there right now. But first off the bat, if you really care about having a GameCube controller for that new Smash, the adapters and the controllers are available for pre-order now.
Yeah. Remember how we talked about they wouldn't be doing a GameCube one? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
I think the funniest joke along this topic I've heard is, given all the whole cross-play thing between the Switch and the Xbox with Fortnite, someone was like, well, what if they put Smash on the Xbox One? And the immediate reaction was, oh, no one will play it. You can't plug a GameCube controller into an Xbox One.
They'll find a way.
Evidently. But, yeah, moving on from that, the Shenmue 1 and 2 re-release bundles are coming to basically everything but the Switch on August 21st. They are $29.
Huh. That's interesting. I haven't played much of the other one. Is it just the original or the
1 and 2? The original 2.
Oh. I didn't finish the first one. I don't know. Did you ever finish those?
I have played both of them. Jim of SWS fame, Dr. Jim, is a big Shenmue fan, but also only remembers being a big Shenmue fan. I think that's one of those games that I remember not being super into when I played both of them, but was like, yeah, I get why people are all fucking all over this shit, kind of the same way people think David Cage games are great, but I think they've aged pretty badly. There's impressively cool stuff in them, and they're very much kind of a how do you make a video game just out of a relatively real life. But, yeah, I don't know.
I remember I enjoyed some of it, because I played some of the first one, but...
there are parts of it that are at the time were groundbreaking and different and cool. There are a lot of games that do similar things that are just better games at this point. There's a lot of games, actually, that are just better games that are similar enough. Like, remember, that's from a time period where narratives in games were pretty, I don't know, infrequent, or like it was a narrative game or it wasn't. Like, not to draw ire, but like the the Call of Duty Modern Warfare story arc across 1, 2, and 3 is better written than the Shenmue games, in my opinion, at least. I'd much rather hear someone explain it to me. But I don't know. That's me being too mean to Shenmue. Like, I just think they've aged real badly.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, I think about it now, because I remember some of it, and I'm like, it wouldn't play so much good, like, so well now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I actually, I don't know if I told you, I had that experience recently with, like, a game I played before that I really liked. Anyway, that's Super Mario All-Stars, the RPG one.
Yep.
It plays really fucking wonky now. But now, it's like, well, back then it was cool, but man, God, that game played wonky as shit, so.
Yeah, you know my stance on nostalgia and stuff like that. I think people remember a lot of games being more fun than they actually were and refuse to let go of their childhood aspects of it, but I've beaten that horse into the ground too many times already on various podcasts.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if is Jim excited about these at all? Have you talked to him?
I don't know. Here's the issue. Like, all the Shenmue fans I know will say, like, oh yeah, I'd love to play Shenmue again. And then when they remember that game is like 100 hours long, go, oh, I can never play Shenmue all the way through again. Like, so much of that game you forget as to what it is. Like, it's I semi-regularly play like 100-hour games. Like, I got into Persona 5 knowing, hey, this game is at least 100 hours long. I think I clocked in like 105 or something, playtime-wise. Like, and I was expecting that. But at the same time, I knew that going in. I think lots of people, like, remember very specific parts from Shenmue and forget the fact that, like, there's a lot of that game. And a lot of that game is go to your job, drive a forklift. I don't know. They're not out yet, so you can't play them, but, like, I've not heard a ton of groundswell around, like, holy shit, you can play Shenmue again. Like, the Shenmue 3 thing also seems to have kind of died down, where it's like, holy shit, we're getting more Shenmue. And that's been it.
Yeah. I'm not really too stoked. As somebody who's played Shenmue before, I'm not too stoked on even having to finish it in the first place. But I
Yeah.
don't finish it, so.
Yep.
But hey, if you're a Shenmue fan, go ahead, have fun, guys.
Indeed. Moving on from that, I guess. There have been rumors about this forever, but I guess the rumors intensified enough that it actually made news recently that, yeah, Google, specifically the Alphabet branch of Google, or I guess kind of the overarching umbrella that is Alphabet within the Google substructure, I don't know how it fucking works, is, yeah, they're working on a video game console. They have been for... I swear I've heard rumors about this since at least, like, Xbox 360, PS3 era, if not earlier.
Yeah, I've been hearing rumors about this for a while, but it just really flared up recently.
Yeah. Well, like, they've bought some game companies, like, specifically for VR shit and stuff like that, so it doesn't not make sense, but at the same time, I don't know, remember, they own Niantic.
Google owns that. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They do.
They own that Pokemon Go.
Huh. Well, I don't know. We'll see. The thing is, it's still so just like, all you hear is about so-and-so's releasing this, and it's like,
Yeah.
there's no meat on this, so it's so hard to, like,
Oh,
okay,
this is
well,
purely a rumor, like a thing people have been saying for easily going on a decade now. Like, I wasn't kidding. I remember back when, like, the Xbox 360 and the PS3 were launching, it was like back in, like, the Steam box is going to come and wipe all this shit out, and then the Steam box came, and we were all like, this sucks. Why would I buy a bad PC for good PC prices? Like I said, bit of a slow news week, and kind of the rest of the news we got's kind of all bundled up into a weird transition into our main topic. So, yeah, you ready for that, I guess?
Sure.
Well, so kind of in a bizarre twist of fate, if you will, during the E3, kind of our post-E3 stuff, we talked about how a bunch of games had behind closed doors demos or videos or whatever that kind of actually showed off more with the game. Anthem was one of them. Cyberpunk 2077. Oh god, I'm blanking on names now. Cyberpunk had one. There was suddenly an upswell in demos and videos and gameplay that the general public, and if you weren't there and in the room, you did not get to see, kind of thing. And this the week of this recording, Anthem released a 20-minute long gameplay video of like, hey, here's that level from E3. I do not get why this was not the E3 presentation for that game. It answers so many goddamn questions and kind of shows that stuff off really well. But it's out there. It's a bunch of people have different copies of it. It's officially out there too. It's narrated by BioWare, explaining how some of the stuff works. If you're curious about Anthem, this does the best job of explaining that. And then there's also an IGN video that's some of the, I believe it's the designers and directors on the game answering questions about it that are, like, by the two's power combined, I think I know a lot about Anthem now, in a good way.
Yeah, I still have to finish the video, but, I mean, yeah, if this is, like, thorough as you're saying it is, this should have been their fucking E3
yeah.
presentation for sure.
Yeah, like, if this had been just them talking over this video, being like, okay, here's some stuff, we're just doing a Q&A over it, that would have been the smart move, because I understand what this game is now, and I'm really excited for this game now. I was excited for already, but yeah. At the same time, though, too, in the same week that this drops, news that Korea is getting its own version of Destiny 2 has come out. It's only on PC. It's called, I think it's, Guardians Destiny? Let me look it up quickly. Destiny Guardians, or Destiny : Guardians. And Tess Everest is out, Yuna is in. And if you thought Destiny 2 had a microtransaction problem, Destiny Guardians will literally let you buy high-end gear.
Oh,
for money.
Yeah. No, hey, Korea, go ahead, spend your money. Fuck that.
Well, so this is pretty typical. Like, so kind of we're building up to our main topic with this. This is pretty typical for kind of the Asian market of MMOs, and it doesn't not make sense if you're going after something kind of similar to that market, but we'll talk about that more in a second. So, again, on top of this all, TennoCon has happened, and for those who don't know what TennoCon is, Warframe, you play as something called a Tenno. TennoCon is the fan convention for that. Every time it happens, like, some big cool reveal happens. Some new open world stuff got added. There's a whole new kind of dynamic ship system they're adding to that game. Lots of cool stuff come to that game, but Warframe is also the game I use to measure if a console... It's my version of Skyrim. It's not a real video game console till it runs Warframe at this point. And as part of this, it was announced that Warframe is coming to the Switch.
Oh, really? For the Switch? Well, I can see that.
No clue how it will work, but it's weird. With all the talk about Fortnite and people being like cross-save and cross-play and stuff like that, I'm forced to remember the fact that like Fortnite is on now every single console. It's coming to Switch. You can't cross-save or cross-play for shit on that one. Like, there was a period of time where you could transfer your PC to your PS4, but that was a one-way, one-time option.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could do it for Xbox One at one point, but yeah, that's the game I most want to get. That's one of the two games I want to get cross-play on, or at least cross-saving, because I play that PC version a lot. I kind of would like to play it on my PS4 every once in a while, or at least have that progression available.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so kind of using all three of those topics to springboard into our main topic this week. It is apparently the week of the shooty MMO-ish game. You got Destiny 2, kind of Forsaken, coming out in really just 3 months at this point. It comes out in September. You've got Anthem launching sometime in 2019, don't remember the exact date, and you've got Warframe kind of consistently Frankenstein adding on functionality that both makes it a better game and also a more confusing game. And like hypothetically, just for me, you'd have like one of these three games to be the best, and having yet to play Anthem, I'm not going to kind of rule it out or claim it the winner, but reality is both me and Alex are fans of this style of game. And then kind of off in the wings, you've got other weird stuff, like you have Star Citizen out there. Star Citizen's 3.2 alpha patch is the closest that thing's been to a game to date, and that thing's definitely a game now. And you now suddenly have a sector of video games a bunch of games are fighting for, and me and Alex thought it might be fun to take a step back and kind of talk about, like, if you were designing, or, like, what would you want out of the MMO light space shootery thing genre that we now suddenly have a genre of. Like I'm stretching to like Borderlands is part of this. If you want to think of it that way, like it's loot driven, not typical RPG element games essentially.
Yeah. So it's interesting now that you have like a wave of games that are all kind of similar coming out, because you got to include in this, which I don't think was mentioned, the Division 2 is coming out soon.
Yeah.
So you've also got
I'd say the Division 2 even fits in this category too, where it's like it's not one thing. It's a shooter, it's an RPG, and it appeals to people like me and you who want repeatable, grindable content in a more, what I would call, involved gameplay mechanic.
Yeah. Because, like, okay, so I guess just to give a little background, if people don't know, I'm a big WoW fan, a big MMO player.
We've talked about it a couple times, yeah.
Yeah. So...
And I am, sorry to interrupt, I am someone who really enjoys the social aspects of MMOs and, like, the community and, like, world-building parts of it, but typically does not like the gameplay mechanics of most MMOs.
Mm-hmm. So, I feel like it combines that feel of, like, grinding out for loot, but at the same time, like, it's the shoot 'em up, run around, gun and stuff, so that's always been fun, which is part of the reason, like, a lot of people were really upset that Destiny, the first one, never came out for PC. Just because, like, I know there was a big calling for it. And now there are these options. I mean, well, yes and no, and I'll dabble into this. Because, first of all, Destiny is one of the few, other than, like, Borderlands 2, but even then I would count Destiny more towards the MMO side of things.
Yeah.
That's your actual, like, MMO FPS game that's out there. All these other ones, like, let's say Division or Anthem, which is, coming out in the next couple, years? What do they got? Like another year or so?
It's coming out next year.
Okay. So those are all third person, which are kind of like, like I like the Division a lot, but I wish it was more. I wish there was a first person view mode, and Destiny is one of the few that actually fills that void. Borderlands, of course, does do it, but it's like Borderlands is not exactly more of an MMO.
It's lighter MMO than the other options on this list.
Yeah. Destiny 2 definitely fills that, like, void, so to speak. For me, anyway. So, like, right now, like, as much as I complain and talk shit about Destiny 2, I think it's the closest thing to what I would want in a actual MMO FPS type game.
See,
first person view.
This is where I disagree, because I'm like, the first person's nice, but at the same time, like, if you can justify why you're not a first-person game, like, Warframe from first-person would be terrible. I think Anthem from first-person would also be terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
It's because it's built with the idea that you're playing in a third-person view, just like the Division. The Division in first-person, I don't think would work out very well at all.
See, I kind of wish the Division was first-person.
So do I. But
I wish that game played more like Siege.
Yeah. But, alas, that is not the case. But... yeah, like, Destiny's one of the few that actually really does kind of get it right, as far as, like, combining the MMO elements with an actual first-person shooter. Nothing wrong with third-person, but I just kind of, as a preference.
If I was going to scale it back and say which one do I think is doing it kind of the best, I'd have to say Warframe. Like, there are large chunks of Warframe that I'm not going to say I don't like, but don't hook me in the same way that stuff from Destiny has in the past, but from a, like, MMO feel, Warframe is the closest I kind of, that really is their out there to an action-y, like, a really action-driven MMO in some ways in the modern setting. But that's kind of the appeal of Star Citizen to me, because Star Citizen can be a first-person game. Like, the on-foot stuff can be third-person or first-person, and the ship stuff can be first-person or third-person. It's kind of a player style at that point. I think first-person has, for the ships at least, it has a benefit for both. Like, you are more precise at that point, but yeah, I don't know. I think, like, limiting it to just first-person is being disingenuous to the other games. Everyone has their preference, so don't get me wrong, but
yeah. Well, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the third person. I'm just saying, as a preference, like, if it's going to be that kind of game, I absolutely very much prefer the first person element of that.
Yeah, but, like, most supers in Destiny are third person and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, but, like, that's what, like, a few seconds?
Yeah, but they're also kind of some of the most iconic parts of that game. You got the sparrows that are third person.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
Sparrows I kind of get.
Part of me wishes there was a third-person mode in Destiny.
Really? Third person in Destiny? Like third person view?
Yeah, I like the option to swap, I guess. Like the reality too is like half of that game, a chunk of all of these games is kind of a fashion-driven aspect where I'd love to see my guy doing more things. Like you didn't do as much raiding as I did. Like the reality is a bunch of like the relics, like hell, your favorite heavy weapon, the sword, is a third-person weapon.
Well, I like it because it's cheap as fuck.
Yeah, but my point is being that drops you to third-person mode.
Yeah, no, I get that. I like it because it was cheap as fuck.
Yeah.
that was a mechanics thing. Though.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it's a bad preference. I'm just like, you spend more time in third person in that game, I think I realized initially. Like, anytime you carry anything, you're in third person.
Yeah, no, I agree. Very much that, but I'm like...
Yeah. I think the shifting back and forth makes it more kind of cinematic, but...
Well, I agree. It definitely gives it a nice cinematic feel. But, like, the majority of the actual meat of the game is first person. Like, the actual playing and killing stuff and moving around.
Sure, the shooting, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I prefer more, personally.
Yeah. Like, I guess, like, taking a step back from how exactly you want to play, what would you, if, and this is kind of armchair developy at this point, like, if you were designing a perfect one of these games, like, what would you aim for?
So for me, first and foremost, first-person shooter. So that's number one. After that, I would say really good story. Obviously because it's MMO, so I like to follow up some of the story. I think I'm looking for group system that kind of makes things easier for newer players. I know there's a double-edged sword with things like, you know, looking for group system, in-game chat. What else? I'd say maybe like not too crazy in terms of like the ammos. Like, you know, you have a fuck ton of different types of. Like, I mean, you have different types of ammos. Like you have your regular, just what is it? Currently, right now, you have your kinetic, right? Like, when we use Destiny as an example.
You got 3 ammos in Destiny.
Yeah. So that system, I guess, kind of works. I actually don't mind that ammo system. I guess I was looking for features I really like. I think I'm looking for a group system, an actual in-game chat system, which I think now it has.
Let me do mine, I guess. Maybe that'll help you iron out yours, because you're kind of meandering some. End of the day, what I really want is, like, and like I know it sounds kind of wishy. I want a game that, like, I wanted there to be one game I'm going to play for the rest of the time. I know it's not a realistic thing, but, like, what I've always wanted, like as much as I kind of shit-talk Star Citizen every once in a while, what I like about that game is it's a world, and it's a bit of a living, breathing world, at least kind of what they're aiming for, they've managed to pull off so far, and it's one of the few MMOs that says, hey, if you don't want to be someone important, you can just go out there and mine or salvage or whatever, and I think that's an important part of, like, it's something I find very appealing the older I get, where it's like, it's a game about mundane jobs. Like, I want, like, whatever this kind of fantastical game is, I want the option out there to kind of be like, but what if you don't want to be a badass warrior kind of thing? What if you want to be a prospector or something kind of silly like that? But, like maybe the powers in Destiny go too far, but I want a game where you feel powerful. Like, if you choose to go down the kind of warrior super soldier path, I want you to feel like a warrior or super soldier. Like, use Warframe as an example, like, the amount of gear in that game is impressive, and the amount of just, like, customization you can do with mods and stuff, I like that a lot. The idea of, like, if you could give me a game that was like, okay, so you have, like, 3 or 4 base classes, and the classes kind of splinter off based on your playstyle, like, if the base of a game was basically, like, Mystic, Warrior, and Soldier, and Warrior was like, hey, it's a third-person character, you use melee weapons, and, like, at level 10, they'll say, like, hey, you're using lots of stealth moves. Do you want to train as an assassin? You get, like, an active cloak and this, and this, and then there's specializations off of that. That'd be something I'd be into. Or, like, if you start off with, like, the soldier class, it's at level 10, it goes, hey, so you do lots of sniping. We have a ranger class. Like, they have an active cloak. They have, like, they have, like, massive headshot bonuses, et cetera, et cetera. Or you can go, like, shock trooper special forces, and then for, like, the other option, like, hey, you're playing a mystic. You start off as kind of a mage and a healer, and they go, you like playing support. Have you thought about going down kind of the cleric approach for this? And, like, have it loop back where if you go down like far enough along a path where it's like, hey, so you like healing, but you're also like up in it all the time, have some power armor.
Mm.
Like I want a game that's progression is more driven by how you want to play. Like the customization, I guess, at this point is what I'm looking for that none of these games have. Warframe gets close-ish occasionally, but I want a game where it's like, okay, so like find a way to mix a game where you have like just basically straight wizard classes, like crazy like sword-wielding champions and dudes with guns, where it's like, okay, so dudes with guns have like auras and shouts and like ground-breaking melee moves, but then the guys with guns have, I don't know, like special tricks and gadgets, and it's like, okay, cool, so yeah, like that guy's a giant axe, but it's all he's got, so like one of the perks you took as a soldier is your special forces, so you've like underslung your like machine gun or something with some like crazy hard-hitting weapon that takes forever to reload, but if you hit something, like when you hit something, it hurts kind of thing. It's a high risk reward, and the rest of the time you're kind of snapping around doing normal Call of Duty stuff, but like in a perfect world, you find a way of balancing it where it's like, yeah, it's Call of Duty. Like the guys that are shooting guns are the weakest, but also they have the most range advantage. They're not weakest because of the Mystics, because the Mystics just nuke stuff, but like the balance very much becomes depending on your class, you have very specific engagement realms, and you really have to kind of commit to that play style, and it's set in a backdrop where it's like a heavy sci-fi, light fantasy thing, kind of like Destiny, where it's like we have spaceships and aliens and all that jazz, but then we also have like fucking god powers and devour worms and swords.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the same time, like there's a certain level of like, hey, if you want to get really into piloting the vehicles, like a game where you can like, it's like I don't have any skills in a combat ability. Like, what do you mean? Oh, I picked like the fourth like support class where it's like this. The options for that are like pilot / driver / mechanic, prospector or something. Where it's like, okay, so you have a clan and like you have like your 5 fire team buddies, then you have like one person that's stupid good at flying, who's like your dropship pilot or something. Like that's the game I want, and it's why Star Citizen's appealing to me, because at least what they're trying to aim for is kind of that game, minus powers. I like powers though. Like I know it's asking for the moon at that point too, where it's like I want this game that's got this crazy robust mining system and economy, but also has like mercenary wars of people throwing like flaming spears at each other and headshotting each other at the same time. Like I'm aware of how unrealistic that is, but at the same time, we keep making games that get closer to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is kind of a wish list anyway, so it's only a matter of time.
But like, imagine a game where like you're in a PvP match and someone drops in like I'll call the Anthem stuff power armor, and the advantage they have is they can have like stupid heavy weapons, but they're slow, and because they're in a robot, they can be hacked. And like as a PvPer, you know, like as a soldier class, you know to bring like a hack knife or something that will temporarily like freeze up a power armor, so you throw that at a guy, run over and like strap a C4 thing to him and run away blowing him up. But like if he caught you in a hallway, you'd be dead because there's no way you can carry a gun that's powerful enough to punch through that, so you have to be kind of cunning about it. But if you're a mage, you can just like fucking throw lightning at him down a hallway. It's yeah, I want like to really rewind. Like that's why I like the 40K games so much, because it's like, hey, we got dudes in power armor, that's for shooting lightning. That's cool, right? That's cool as shit. What if we put a demon in this power armor? What if?
Just bear with me. Listen to me here. What if we?
Yeah, no, like Doom is kind of like I like an MMO version of Doom, the modern version, not the original. Although I took original Doom too, like the modern Doom, like that aggressive play style thing. Like if you could find a way to make an action RPG based around kind of that concept, I'd be in. But again, kind of rewinding back to the Star Citizen-y thing, where it's like, hey, so like we have a planet. What's the planet? It's a nature reserve. What do you mean? Oh, it's like a fancy hunting ground for you PvE players. It's just fucking covered in boss fights, essentially. Like all of them are hard, and we limit what guns you can take down with you, but like you get points or something. It's the fucking Safari Zone from Pokemon, but you're like nuking Godzilla from orbit or something. Maybe that's why I'm excited about Anthem, because they show off enough stuff that's kind of like I, as cool as I think that game is. The armors, the Jaegers or something like that. What are they called?
Javelins.
Javelins. They're not what I'm looking for in a game as a player character, but at the same time, like to go back to the video, if they just put out the 20-minute video, that Colossus has a railgun and a mortar and like 2 guns and a super move and a melee weapon, and all of those are customizable. Maybe not the melee weapon, but like you can like choose a very specific loadout to your playstyle. They have another Colossus in that video that's rocking a flamethrower, and that level of customization for like a pretty standard character is really appealing to me. And the fact that like they have a combo system where like you like playing a more traditional MMO character. Imagine if like in the crazy MMO I've described, that's totally implausible. Like the Mystic characters played like a more traditional MMO, but at the same time, like the gunny characters played like Call of Duty, and your melee-based characters played like Diablo or something. So you kind of now have someone for everything, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got to be a nightmare to balance, but like if you could make that work, imagine how cool that would be. Where like you have some dude just with like a giant axe and a shield taking like tank damage, and snipers shooting off random, and someone healing him from the back or something. Like I don't know. Like it feels like we're getting closer to a point where maybe that's possible, but I got no clue.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like I would love to play WoW if they put like the fucking Black Desert Online combat system in it for the Death Knight. Like it's the tab and attack play style is something that increasingly does not appeal to me. Black Desert Online is a bad game, but it's got a really cool combat system for an MMO.
Yeah. I remember I watched some of that stuff when it comes to the combat. It looks
it's sick. I wish that game like gave you more options. Like that game's super limiting where it's like, hey, here's your player class. You can't really change the appearance that much even.
Yeah.
You are very much this class. This class even has a locked... hell, those classes were gender specific.
Mm-hmm.
Which sucked. Well, so I've gone off. Like I kind of interrupted you. Have you gotten a chance to kind of collect your thoughts more?
Yeah, so... I like a lot of the stuff you talked about. Like, but I guess if we're still going back to, like, what would encompass this, like, loot... Like, I like the Destiny system a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I go back and reference it because I very much like and enjoy that system a lot. There were just, like, I guess if they had more in-depth stuff when it comes to endgame and stuff you can do as a guild, that really counts. Because right now it's just little raids here and there, which aren't much for me. I like a lot of the PvE aspect. That's my thing. Like, I love doing, like, raids and dungeons and all that.
Yeah, like, what kind of always goes back to is, like, what if Destiny had the scope of PvE content that, like, World of Warcraft had?
I would be 100% in on that. 100% in.
And that's kind of what that's very much the game I want, where it's like, okay, it's a wide open space. You're gonna level slowly.
Yeah. I like the idea that you can kind of change up certain ways you play based off, like, you can have a root class, like you have your, like you were saying, the warrior, your mystic, your, like, rogue or whatever you want to call it, like kind of like stuff like that, and then you can build off of that. Kind of like, I don't know if you ever played Final Fantasy 11.
Yes, I played 14. You've got that kind of you can bounce around aspect to it.
Okay, well, I'm referencing 11 specifically because in 11 you can you had your main class, and so that was the main one. That's what you leveled up as. And then once you reach a certain point, you can learn a subclass.
Oh yeah,
and it very much changed the way you played.
14 does something similar where you can kind of carry over certain abilities from class to class, and like some of the equipment carries over from class to class.
Yeah, but like at least the way they had it in 11 is you kept your base class, but like you were enhanced by your subclass.
Yeah,
and there was tons of flexibility with that because then you can pick some really cool, like, different kind of flavors, and then it just adds more nuance, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'll reference something. My brother-in-law actually has this little mobile RPG game he played, but like he was able to combine stuff. Like he had an assassin priest, so it was very much like it had a lot of assassin abilities, but also secondary priest-based abilities, which made him really fucking good in that game. So stuff like that, like being able to flex and really kind of add to your character, I think would be pretty cool. Like to be able to combine something like into that. Like I mean, obviously Destiny has like your Void Walker, your whatever they call them. But like I would say like even a second tier that would kind of be flexible or even intertwined with some of them. They kind of give you a little more flavor and like a little more panache, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But I kind of like that customization and being really be flexible with that. Kind of like how like I've been kind of playing around with Divinity. You have that flexibility of depending on how you build up your character. Like you had mentioned something earlier like that too, in terms of like, well, you play like this. You want to try doing this stuff? Like that stuff's fun. But I think like the number one thing for me, and now I'm going to go back to it, is just the amount of like PvE content available is huge for me. And the way that it doesn't feel like it's like, because the thing with Destiny right now, you can get all your stuff done within like a few hours, and then that's it.
Yeah, and that's where the faction rally stuff I thought was actually they've given you more stuff to grind towards. Like it takes longer to get everything out of a grind.
Yeah. So other than that, like that's kind of the main thing I'd be looking for if I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the biggest element for me. Also, like I said it, and I'll say it again, I love first person, so it's got to have first person elements.
I think about a swap is important. I don't know. I think some stuff works better from first person, and some stuff works better from third person. Like you couldn't do the agility stuff you have in Warframe from first person. You'd get sick.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it on my end. I mean, well, I already mentioned, for me, the number one thing is it's got to have that first-person feel. What would be the number one thing for you? Like, the one feature that you want to absolutely have in a... Well, I mean, first-person is nice, but, like, having strong PvE content is strong for me. Like, I would say even above that. So, for you, what would be, like, the number one and number two things?
The thing I always go back to, and it's... I want that Star Citizen. You don't have to be anyone important. Like it's, like we can create a bunch of kind of dev developed content for you, or you could like do your own thing. Like if you want to be out there and doing a miner, you can just go fucking mine and sell it into the economy. Like Eve does this to a certain extent too, where it's like they have quests in that game, but the majority of it is very player driven. Like it's the game I want is like an aggressive like. I want the like megacorp size guilds to be like galactic forces that like can cause problems for people, or if they really want, they like as long as you're outside of like what I call like secure space, like the big guilds are a problem. Maybe you have like 3 or 4 factions that you can like link up with that are kind of fictitious guilds. Like I know you have like a Union of Outer Systems, you have like an Interplanetary Alliance, and then you have like a mercenary thing where it's like, okay, yeah, like each of these are paths to play the game, and each have their pluses and minuses to them. But like, it's mostly about living in this universe at that. Like, and we're not going to define what's right. Like, if you want to find some desolate planet and like fucking mine down and just get involved in the economy that comes from like settling a planet, go for it. Like, we're going to throw stuff at you that maybe you have to defend the planet from like pirates or some other NPC in the game or something, or like other people rolling up on your stuff. But if you want to do that, go for it. At the same time, I want a game that's like, hey, so we found some like dark fucking evil thing under the sands on this planet, and it spits out like robot skeletons that are really goddamn hard to kill. We're offered a huge bounty for anyone who figures out what the hell's going on. Like, or just kind of more grounded stuff. It's like, hey, we have this prison planet. There's been an uprising, and we need people to go in and kind of like shut this shit down for us. And maybe that kind of builds you stats with one of the 3 major factions or something. I don't know. I want to feel like you live there. And like to go back to Black Desert Online, they have you kind of feel like you live in that world. You have a house, you have like an economy based around your house, you have like jobs you care about and stuff. I don't know. It's in WoW, you feel like some legendary hero. I want an MMO where I just kind of feel like a dude who's better than other people at stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Destiny comes close to getting the right line, but at the same time, there's also that whole like, yeah, maybe you're immortal, and this entire world might be Valhalla a little bit kind of situation, which I dig because you're like one of the super soldiers. Okay, that's the best way of thinking it. I want to be a Spartan, not Master Chief. I want to be better than people, but not like the pinnacle of humanity kind of thing. And like that's like in my mind, that's the point of MMOs, but most MMOs don't pull that off so much because of how they work. Second one, customization. Like if the Division 2 let me do something crazy, like get really into, like if I found a gun I really liked, and the game's like, okay, cool, so this gun's only okay, but you can also but it's low enough level that we're gonna give you the option to like mod out the parts. Like you can buy a better barrel, better rifling, better grip, better clips for it, all that stuff. But at the same time, or you can just go out and find some like fucking epic ass gun that's opposed to it. Like both are like if you could have a game where it's like, hey, we have this legendary epic shotgun you can find, it's an RNG, or you can spend the time like crafting and finding parts to upgrade this gun you have that you really like into something equivalent, I would be super into that. Because I love the idea, and like some games have kind of hinted at this, or they've like touched on it, the idea of like this weapon is yours. Like it's like in Destiny they have guns that track how many enemies you've killed with them and stuff, which is cool. But like imagine if like I want to feel like if I'm playing the game for 5 years and I have my favorite gun, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna play with some other stuff for a little while, but then like the new expansion drops, it's like, okay, it's time to go grab the real gun. Like it's time to go grab the thing we like forged a path with before, kind of thing. And like I guess I want like spill that over to armor some, where it's like, okay, have like pre-made armor, but let me get my character put like a cool ass coat over it or something, where it's like, okay, yeah, we're all rocking the Rhino XT3 armor because it's the best armor for this class, but we all don't have to look the same. It's not just color options. It's like I bought this cool ass trench coat that fits over the armor, or I chose not to get that armor because I can't wear my cool ass trench coat, and it's important to me that my character has this cool ass trench coat. Maybe because like it's got pockets, which expands my storage capabilities or something, or I can have more gadgets in PvP because I'm just like fucking shoving them in pockets in the jacket. I don't know. Like you talk about the Matrix Online some, where like you could make a fairly unique looking character to a certain extent. I've always been surprised other MMOs haven't taken that. Like I get it, like WoW has polymorphing, but still there's such a kind of homogenized look to some of that stuff, and like it's endgame gear. Endgame gear looks like endgame gear kind of thing. I want the option that where it's like, okay, I'm wearing like power armor, but also like making a point of wearing a scarf. Why a scarf? Because I want to.
Well, yeah, I mean that customization, though, to be able to have that, I think, is really important because it makes you feel like that's your character.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. I can totally feel you on that one. Part of the reason I like the Matrix so much is because it had that functionality of being super like flexible.
Yep.
I feel you.
Yeah, it's weird. Like that, mechanically, a bunch of games exist that what I want. It's the in-depthness they go to, where it's like, no, like take No Man's Sky, take that level of like salvaging and Minecraftiness, and put it in a better game. Like put that in Destiny, and I would be very intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
Like take the open worldness of that game and put it in a better game. And maybe it's like, oh, well, that you can't do that, but at the same time, like, maybe you could. Like, Eve exists. Yeah. Like, Star Wars Galaxies was a thing.
Star Wars Galaxies was such an interesting game.
Yeah, like, I want a good version of Star Wars Galaxies that's got nothing to do with Star Wars. It's the real answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah. I can see it. And it makes sense. I mean, these are super fucking valid points.
Yeah.
I totally feel you on that.
No, and it's... I think they've done a really good job of maintaining WoW. I think where that thing shows its age is in what that game fundamentally is now. Like Overwatch has been a giant smashing success, but like what was Titan? Like allegedly it was kind of a WoW level thing with guns. What would that have been like? Especially from people that have done WoW. Like they know what they're doing. They know how to make an MMO that goes on for like what? 15 years?
Yeah, well, it's true. There's a reason they're still so successful.
Yeah, it's a risk. Like it's again, like it's the all like you can say lots of bad stuff about Star Citizen. It's vaporware. It's a cash grab. Like it's deceiving people. But at the same time, they're fucking taking a risk. They are swinging for the fences on that thing, and they actually kind of have something to show for it. Like, you can play Star Citizen right now, technically. You should not pay money for it like I have, but at the same time, that game could be something.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kudos to them for swinging for the fences on that.
Yeah.
Not taking away anything from them on that.
Yeah, like, hell, like, what Warframe is versus what Warframe was, like, 5 years ago or longer, are night and day. I would not still be talking about Warframe if it was that thing I first played on the PS4. I'm like, this sucks. Why would you play this? Now it's kind of this weird, vibrant, wonderful thing that is confusing as hell and has some rough edges, but when it works, it's fucking beautiful. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling some at this point.
I think we've kind of gone as far as we can with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, what we want to see. I mean, a lot of it is hopeful at this point, but I mean, it's good to see there's competition coming out for this particular genre. I'm hoping there's kind of an interest that sparks on it, and we get even more innovation and competition with it. Like, I'm looking forward to this. So.
Yeah, we shall see.
And
Yeah.
I think, you got anything else on this, or?
Nah, I think I've said my piece.
Cool beans.
Yeah. Well, we have no email this week, but if you want to send us an email, Alex, what address would you send that to?
Oh, well, that address is very simple, Charlie. That address is wickedawesomecast@gmail.com.
What's that address again, Alex?
wickedawesomecast@gmail.com.
wickedawesomecast@gmail.com. Down in the show notes, spelled as it sounds, etc., etc. That's not totally fair. We did get a couple emails, but it was, hey, you guys are coming back, right? And yes, we're back. We apologize for the 2 weeks and kind of the abruptness of it, but I really did think I was going to be able to pull off at least one guest in that time span. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that I didn't hear anything.
Week
I was
2,
thinking, like,
I try not to talk about it much, but like I've had some rough shoulder weeks too, where it's like I just want to lie on my couch and be in pain for 12 hours this weekend.
Gotcha. No, I get it. Makes sense.
Yeah. It's been interesting, but yeah, I think that about does it for this week. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm pretty good. Other than like, I should be starting to stream. My days for streaming are now changing, just because like there's quiet time hours.
Sure.
In the apartment complex I live in.
Wait,
so,
what?
Yeah.
What nanny ass state has quiet hours in an apartment building?
This one. So, my.
Do you have like a dorm parent too or something?
Probably.
You
Would
get this
surprise
is
me.
weird, right?
Is it quiet hours is a weird thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's like a college dorm thing. Like a boarding school thing.
Well, this definitely isn't one of those scenarios, so yeah.
Like, what is defined as quiet hours? What are the penalties for quiet hours?
Somebody wags their finger at you, kind of thing, I guess.
That is weird. Like, is there someone whose job it is to police quiet hours?
Not sure. I really actually don't know.
Huh.
But yeah, so I'll be streaming Friday, Saturday, and Sundays now, probably during the midday afternoon stuff.
Okay.
So those will be my new hours. I'll post a tweet at some point, just kind of make sure it's out there. But yeah, keep an eye out, folks. I'll be back. Yeah. Other than that, that's all I got to plug. Other than my usual,
Yep.
we have online across the board.
Yep. Does that do it for this week then?
I think so. I think we're good. You can cue us out this time because
Cool.
I've been the one doing it recently.
Cue the metal then.